If you're looking to become a better commander deck builder, stick around a bit and let me fill you in on the best value engine you've been sleeping on. You cast Imperial Recruiter. You tutor. This has been done before. It's nothing revolutionary. You get what you need, maybe a combo piece, a draw engine, a silver bullet. Then what? You move on, you forget the recruiter ever happened. But what if you didn't? What if that recruiter wasn't just a stepping stone, but the foundation of something bigger? Today, we deep dive into an engine built on synergy, recursion, and one of the cleanest lines of repeatable advantage in all of Commander, Jaxis and Imperial Recruiter. I'm Jay. This is the Grim Captain's Locker here at Jaye-vyJonesMTG, and let's jump into it. First, the basics. Jaxis the Troublemaker. 4 mana to get down, and then 1 red and discard a card to make a token copy of a creature you control.
Token gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card, and we also will sacrifice it at the beginning of our end step. Now for Imperial Recruiter.
2 and a red, 1/1, tutors a creature with power 2 or less into your hand. That's good on its own, but here's the twist. Jaxis and Imperial Recruiter is a self-feeding loop of card selection, draw, and toolbox precision. You play Recruiter, enters the battlefield, you tutor for a creature with power 2 or less. Then you activate Jaxis for a single red mana, you pitch a card and copy the Recruiter. That token enters, it tutors again, and then at the end of the turn it dies, and you draw a card to replace the one you pitched. And you can do it again next turn, and the next. The synergy is elegant, more so than explosive, but over time, it is absolutely devastating. 2 tutors, 1 card draw, all from a single activated ability to kick it off. However, the meat and potatoes of the value we're gaining here is from triggered abilities. This engine I run in a Tymna Jeska deck, so Delny Streetwise Lookout is already a house there. I don't want to turn this into a deck tech, but let's use my Mardu deck as an example of what this shell can do. Delny reads, creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. I'm generally not a fan of win more or enhancer cards, but Delny provides combat synergy above and beyond the trigger doubler, which wouldn't be enough for me to play her alone. With Delny on board, the first ETB from Imperial Recruiter triggers twice, putting 2 creatures of our choice with power 2 or less into our hands. Then we pitch a card to activate Jaxis, getting another Imperial Recruiter, fetching another 2 power 2 or less creatures directly to our hand. Then the end of turn sacrifice trigger, which Jaxis gives to the token alongside the triggered ability. When this creature dies, draw a card, which will Delny double and draw us 2 cards. Obviously, these 3 working in synchrony is an ideal scenario, but it's very realistic and something I can pull off with reasonable regularity when Imperial Recruiter can find Jaxis or Delny, and Recruiter of the Guard can pull off a similar role in the deck. Going +5 card advantage for 1 red is absolutely nuts before you factor in the card selection and ability to toolbox for answers. Once this engine starts humming, the question becomes, what do you tutor for? And this is where the magic happens, because you're not just generating value, you're selecting your value turn by turn. Let's look at the toolbox options I run as an example, but don't take this as gospel or restrictions. Use this as a jumping off point for cards you'd like to be able to access more often in your decks. For protection, Giver of Runes can protect the vital pieces on board, and rarely has to actually be used to dissuade targeted removal, while General's Enforcer can provide indestructibility to Jaxis, Tymna, and a variety of other legendary humans the deck runs. Against Storm, we can grab a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, or a Charismatic Conqueror against hasty opponents, providing blockers, creature ETBs for Enduring Innocence or Perforos, and incremental life gain. Ravenous Chupacabra, Accursed Marauder, Lord of the Third Path, or Witch Enchanter can all enter the battlefield with removal attached, be copied for additional value if needed, and Witch Enchanter can even be played to hit a land drop since it's a creature in all zones except the battlefield when it's played flipped. To ramp in a deck that wants to make tokens and swing, we can also go get Pitiless Plunderer or Professional Facebreaker, both all-stars for getting ahead on mana. While we like to close games with Perforos and attacking, Agate Instigator does a great impression and can be tutored up, stapling incremental damage onto our copies while we tutor for any of our Mobilize or Myriad creatures to make the most of those creatures entering. The absolute best option to tutor for, though, is remember to like and subscribe, a 0 mana instant that reads, Jay receives single neuron activation while YouTube helps this video find others like us seeking to become better deck builders and players. Thanks for your guys' time and tuning in, I really do appreciate it. Back to the engine. Another cool thing is if any of this falls apart past our protection spell suite, we can always look to Unearth, Savine's Reclamation, Reanimate, or Alesha, who laughs at fate to get us right back online. Like I mentioned, I don't want to turn this into a deck tech, but this is just an example of a toolbox-based package that can be run alongside an engine like Jaxis Recruiter. If you'd like to see a deck tech on my Timna Jessica Mardu Matters list, leave a comment below and I'd be happy to put one together if there's interest for that kind of content. I love to brew decks that feel like the color, guild, or wedge they represent, and from what I've heard from my opponents, this deck feels like being under siege from the Mardu Horde. In a vacuum, none of these cards are earth-shattering, but together they're pieces that convert your cute little engine into a looping, recursive nightmare of toolbox threats and value. A value engine, in a traditional sense, isn't a combo, it's not a one-shot, it's not a card you slam on turn 6 and hope to untap with. It's a system, it's modular, it's repeatable, it's hard to disrupt. This one, for example, we want repeatability. Jaxis activates every turn at a very sustainable cost of 1 mana and discard, which filling our graveyard is also a welcome side effect. It's self-replacing. Every token draws a card or 2 on the death trigger, replacing the card you have to pitch at worst, and gaining you card advantage when you copy a tutor or have a second draw engine online like Enduring Innocence. It's toolbox-based. You can grab the answer you need, not just the one you hope to top deck, making it feel very responsive and controlling while still maintaining the core game plan of your choosing, whether that's an aggro token strategy, an aristocrats vibe, anything you'd like to go with in the colors you have available to you. It's also, very importantly, permissible until it's too late. A deck can only be as dangerous as the table allows them to be, and nothing about this screams kill them now in a deck you can honestly rule 0 that you aren't running any infinites. This setup is also incredibly resilient. If your recruiter dies, you've already tutored value. If Jaxis dies, you can reanimate or recast her, getting back online with Recruiter of the Guard or any various ETB removal creatures to maintain board control. If both die, you've got the answers you needed, and you can always pull them back out as soon as able, using a sack outlet if you can for extra value and to prevent full-blown exile. This is the difference between a value engine and just value. What's beautiful is you don't need a combo here to win. You win because your board keeps replacing itself. You let your creatures trade up, your hand refills, and you don't run out of tools. The best engines in Commander don't scream, they hum. They draw a card, they tutor, they copy or flicker, they tutor again. They leave you smiling while everyone else tries to figure out when they lost control of the game. Jaxis and Imperial Recruiter don't just make value, they make momentum, driving the game back into your favor while providing an answer to the problems our opponents are bound to present to us. Embrace the grind and try out this underplayed engine in one of your decks soon. Thanks for tuning in, and please comment below any engines you'd like to run in your decks. My name's Jay, I really appreciate you sticking along, and we'll talk to you soon.